Man, let me get this mic right. Mic right. Get the mic right. All right, we here, man. Let me get, God damn. All right. All right, check. Check one, check two, check. Got that right? Okay. Man, let's get this thing started right, man. Big up to everybody's in the chat. Got 25 people in here right now, man. Let y'all get up in there, man. Man, Big Mid 24. You haven't watched the brother in a couple of years. Time to get back. Yeah, time to get back on track, yo. You know, we doing the same thing, beating them down, right? Bringing them to the position where they understand how essential science is to the African American community, or whatever you decide to call yourself. Very essential, man. And for us to be champions in this world, you have to have that in your toolkit. It is the foundation of what we all do. And that's called food, clothing, and shelter and survivability. That includes your economics and all that. Can't survive without an economic plan within your family. You're going to be wild, out of order, and crazy. So all these things are essential, and the basis of it is scientific literacy, man. Big up to all the pseudo killers, man, known and unknown, man. Big up to all the people that's coming over to our side, had the epic battles and fights and the whole 9 yards, and didn't realize, man, because sometimes it's the death blow punch. You don't feel it when it first hits you. But a year or two later, yo, when you sitting to yourself and you thinking and you talking to your kids and they bringing new stuff to you, and you be like, man, God was right. So we do that type of conversation. In our conversation, we teach high-level doctorate, master's degree information, meaning the sources that we use can be found at the highest levels. Simple as that. Now, whether you comprehend them or not, is based off of your will to study more. Now, if you stuck, right, and your biases already put you in a box, then you're in trouble. Big up to Sirius B. Like he says, yo, research is what we likely do. How you say it? Likely what we do, right? Yeah, I wouldn't actually call us researchers, yo, but we definitely looking up the information, using the data banks and colleges and universities and the whole 9 yards, man. And that's important to move forward. You gotta have a foundation. The world that we live in and hope to flourish in, since the Stone Age, since Homo sapiens was trying to find a way to eat food, since Homo erectus was trying to eat, Homo Neanderthal, Australopithecines, and they was trying to get food, they was making tools to get that food, to butcher their animals. And you would have to consistently make the tool the same way if you figured it out. And if it worked, you want to make it the same way every time. It's technology, ladies and gentlemen. You have to transmit ideas from generation to generation and get it right. Proto-science. Collect data before reading and writing. So it's always been the foundation of the haves and have-not. Who can have an idea, take that idea, make that idea palatable, full of community, and make the idea work? Because everybody got a damn idea, don't they? But does it work? Does the thing you just created, can we hunt with it? Can we protect the village with it? Do you have an accurate way to get us to clean water every time? Because if you miss it, you're going to die. See, nature is unforgiving. How much do you know about nature? How many times are you going to eat the green berry? Tommy ate the green berry, his whole family fought for the green berries, and they all died because they was poisoned. Willie say, man, they ate the green berry. I'm going to eat it. I don't know why they died. And then he dies. And somebody say, we're not going to eat the green berry no more. They dying. We learn to stay away from that. Oh, how about the frog with the red color? Why are you around the frog with the red color? He just bit Tommy and Tommy fell out. At what point do you say, stay away from the black frog with the red spots on it? It's killing us. So, the foundation of living in survivability on planet Earth is understanding nature. And the best way to understand nature is what? Through your spirituality? Well, your spirituality can contain ideas and concepts to say, whenever you see that frog, right, in your mythology, it's dangerous, stay away from it. So absolutely. So myths are also important to human beings. Their religious and cultural practices are important. Watch this. As long as they don't cross the line. What's the line? When we figured out a way of drinking fresh water and your religion say, well, you can drink that water, that's when you've crossed the line. That's why it was so essential for humans to separate that. And once they separated it, it was a chain of events over time from the Stone Age to consistently separate. You know, you even need to separate it. That started to culminate it during the time of the Arabs' Golden Age. The platform was set in ancient Nile Valley culture, early West African cultures, but by the time they get to the Nile Valley, it's essential because now they mixing with other populations. They running into them. And they know that the Egyptians was renowned in their herb game, top-notch herb game. That's what the Greeks said. But they still had not separated totally their spirituality from their science or from their proto-science. It wasn't there yet. It's not until the Golden Age of the Islamic Empire at the House of Wisdom in Baghdad and Iraq that they started to do that. And it's not until modern science, which is totally different. By the time you get to modern science, that's when humanity knew. Do not mix it. And that's when it took off. So science is not a white thing, an Egyptian thing. It's an early Stone Age thing, proto. And we use the term proto to make these separations. It's a transition. It's a step-by-step process to get you to the point where I can come here on the mic and say, the fact that you just prayed ain't the reason why your car started up. That took us about 350,000 years. So I was on SaNeters. And I popped up. Let's see. See if I can show this. And we popped up. Let me get this right. On SaNeters, and we popped up on this conversation. And the conversation was full of pseudoisms. Yes, it was. Super full of it. Man, big up to the people that's in the chat, man. I see you, Sister Sci-Fi, man. It's the camera following me, man. We got the movement. We got the photographer, the cameraman in the back. He's following me around. Let's see if I can fix that. That's funny. So we're on here with man Hercules, the true science behind African spirituality. There ain't no science behind African spirituality. It's a spiritual system. It's a social, cultural, religious system, cultural practices, deification of different animals, different natural phenomenon. All that is part of your spiritual system. Your deities, your gods, all that. Ain't no science behind that. It ain't supposed to be. But we having this discussion and they arguing with me. And then Sakou pops up. You know, Sakou's the one I debated on that whole subject of spirituality and science. Big up to Sakou. So I want to start this off, man. Big up to SaNeter TV for allowing me, all right, to play this material. Big up to the House of Consciousness, man. I know a lot of y'all hate that. Oh, I don't like that. Well, listen, man. You fuck with who you fuck with. You know what I'm saying? Regardless of our fights and back and forth show, man, we always found a way to work it out, man. So find a way to work it out. Man, guess who I talked to today, man? I'll tell y'all on the next show. I ain't gonna tell you. I'm thinking, well, I don't know if I should tell you or not. So let's get this going, man. This is a good one right here, man. This is a good one. This is a good one. I'm telling you, it's a good one. Let's get it. If y'all can hear this, put a 1 in the chat.
Hey, brother, I'm about to open up the floodgates, and I ask that everybody please keep your questions on the presentation that the brother dropped today. No profanity. I don't want to hear, I'm sorry, my bad. We don't want no profanity, no beefing. Let's keep it respectful. We got a new year coming in, Ankh. Christmas coming in, Ankh. I heard you sat on Santa's lap earlier the other day. Is that true, brother?
Yeah, I thought you said keep it one way, but then you jump out the
door. My bad, man. My bad. I'm just telling you what I heard.
Impossible.
What's going on now?
And you started off crazy.
Man, what's happening, man?
I heard you got vaccinated. Is that true?
That is true. I had to. I didn't want to, but I had to, man.
Well, congratulations on your education and being an example for the African American community. I didn't see you turn into a monster. I see you turn into anything, yo. So I appreciate that. I think the point, and how you doing, brother? Okay, the real point I want to make is clear. At no point, big up to Cedric, man, pseudo killer. And okay, I see we got my man right there. Say cool. Big up. All right, I want to make this point here. I think we do the African American community and the indigenous African community a grave injustice when we attempt to usurp the process that actually gave them the foundations that would later on become modern science. We don't have to add nothing to this to take nothing from that, right? What we do understand about science, you can look it up on Wikipedia. But we do understand that modern science, right, is in a particular time period. And that modern science came out of another particular time period, all the way back to the Stone Age, where the first Homo sapiens sapiens walked upright on planet Earth. Prior to Homo sapiens sapiens, we had the human family trying to figure out how to survive and maintain food, clothing, and shelter. That took them to collect some type of data. It all started off early, right, and would end up in reading and writing. So for us to usurp the position of the Nile Valley Africans and put them at a stage of their development, right, before they ever would have had the right information to do it, I think it's an injustice, and it takes away what they actually gave to the world. Nobody says this in modern science that Europeans started science. Nobody says that. Science is not a straight line. It's based off a lot of different ancient cultures. Need no help from nobody. They're just trying to survive. We're not even going to discount oral traditions. Oral traditions was important in the beginning because people had to transmit information to the next generation, right? So when you try to act like that the Nile Valley did this and they did that, you're usurping the natural process of how long it took for Homo sapiens sapiens to get to the point where they could even talk about quote unquote natural philosophy, quote unquote philosophy, quote unquote proto-science, to even get to what you now think is white, which is modern science. No, modern science just happens in a particular time period amongst particular people, but they all look back to the past to get that foundation. So please, we don't got to usurp it, yo. The thing is safely fixed and understanding that the ancient peoples had proto-science that is the foundation that would later on become modern science. I be removed that I do not mention the House of Wisdom, right? Which read the ancient text. See how they go back? The golden age of the Arabs, right? Or the golden age of Islam. Their foundation is set in ancient Greece and Rome.
All right, Unc, I need you to ask a question, brother.
Finish it, which is set, quote unquote, right? Nile Valley in Mesopotamia, right? Clear. So we don't got to change. I don't have a question. I just wanted to make a statement.
Well, if you wanted to debate the brother, you just let me know and I'll get him. And I want to let everybody know that SaNeter's Cash App do work. Let me have a happy face for New Year's. Indigenous Black man, I went deep into the blocking section and unblocked you, man. Show your appreciations my brother. I unblocked you. Let me have a happy new year. Put a smile on my face, man. Use that Cash App, everybody. And let me go on over to Alexa. Stop. Let me go on over to Rakufu. You got a question, brother? Let's go.
Yeah, Master Hercules, good presentation. I just wanted to just a little pushback on the book, the Pale Fox, which you was talking about, the Dogon. I read several times, an old copy right here of it. You can see it's all beat up. But what I wanted to say was they had said when they went back to the Dogon people that the people there could not replicate what Ogo Tamale had said originally, and that most of that science is up to a debate. Could have been a European science. I want to hear your, what you feel about that, because I know you read the book.
Mm-hmm. I haven't heard that part, but I would assume that the people they probably went back to wasn't initiated.
Okay.
Because you got to remember, you had to be initiated to know certain stuff.
Right. It took him so many years just to get to the clear level.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I get it. That would be it, sir. That was a good presentation.
All right, let me move on over to Cedric. What's going on, Cedric?
Peace, what's good, everybody? Shout out to the God Killer and happy holidays and season greeting. You saw me early in the chat. I predicted what this was going to be, so I said I'm gonna call Cap from early. We've dealt with this type of rhetoric before, and honestly, you can do this with any ancient cosmology. I could do this with the Navajo for dimensions and break it all down and sync all things up. What it's called, sir, this is a classic example of post hoc rationalization and shoehorning fallacy, right? So we're retrofitting modern science into ancient cosmology. As was clear in the brother's presentation, he kept retrofitting, assuming this is what these people meant when they presented, when they were talking about a particular subject. Noon's waters, for example, is matter. So to say there was no matter when referring to Noon as water, the conversation is all over the place. And it's a classic form of post-hoc rationalization. And like Ankh was saying, for the ancient people to understand quantum physics, they would have evidence of electricity. You don't get to quantum physics without understanding electricity. You don't get to electricity without having developed the periodic table and understanding the elements, right? So there are steps to get to where we're getting, right? And this again is a classic form of retrofitting fallacy, of shoehorning modern science into ancient cosmology. It involves confirmation bias, like the brother was explaining. He finds these things beautiful. He interjects spirituality, talks about the whole continent, but focuses primarily on ancient Egypt, as if that represents all of the cosmologies and cultures and spiritual forms. Again, he starts off with animism, and as we develop throughout history, we see animism throughout all cultures around the world. So these concepts are not unique, but yeah, the brother did an excellent job in what we know as pseudoscience.
All right, do you have a question for him?
No.
All right, Sakou, I know you're gonna help the brother out, man. What's up, man?
Peace and blessings, SaNeter. Greetings to all the panelists. Great presentation. I didn't watch everything. I think I came towards the end and I watched it, and I think it's very interesting. My own question probably is not on the presentation, but it's just the context of everything. When you say African spiritual science, what do you mean? Like, is there, because my understanding is that science is universal. Everybody just contributed to it at a certain point. It was archaic in the beginning. People tried to grab some concept. Then eventually it evolved with different civilization. So when people try to give it a specific name and say African science. I am wondering whether they are saying that we have a peculiar science which is not universal, where we have is very peculiar to our people. I want to understand that, and if you can just clarify that, is it a universal science, or is just that it was only African who were practicing this spiritual science?
Well, I would say no. I'm saying that yeah, it was African science is different because and again I'm going off of like my brother right here. This is a good book that I got, and he breaks it down. Him and other there's several other people as well. They break down the difference in between what we call science. And the only reason we think that is universal is because we all graduated from schools that are Western centered. So he goes through and shows throughout the book that when you're dealing with African science, in Western science, it's only dealing with the empirical, okay? And in African science is when you truly doing African science, when you're doing Black science, you have to include the non-physical. You have to. If you don't do that, then you're not doing African science. You're practicing, Western style of science.
So you're confusing physical and empirical.
Now, hold on, Cedric. Let's say Sakou finish.
Go ahead, sir, Mansa. I like your name, by the way. It's my language, Mansa.
No, that's what I've been learning as I've been reading up on what do we call Africa? What is African science? And I've said this before. They've been talking about this on the continent for years, for the past 20 years. I've been finding papers and got books and stuff that's talked about this. That there's a need to get back to do African science, to do science where you involve the non-physical realm as well, because we're doing science today where we just don't care about what happens as long as you're making an advancement. We don't care.
What Sakou is saying, my brother, is that science is science. It's not for a particular people, like European science, African science, Greek science. Science is science without no group name tag to it. That's what Sakou is saying. So when you say African science, is African science special or different from any other science?
So yes, and in a nutshell, I'm saying yes, because it includes the spiritual realm. In today's science, look, okay, the math is going to be the same, no matter where you're at. If you're in China or if you're in Nairobi, the math is going to be the same. It's all going to be the same. However, your approach to applying that mathematics is what we call science. Science is just applied mathematics. That's all it is. And your approach to applying the mathematics to what you learned is different than how you think. I think that was the point that I tried to make when I was showing you the Black Math video, is that their approach to applying math was different. They already understood. Like I said, there are 12 universal mathematical constants that you could prove that's inside the Great Pyramid. And that's not by coincidence. That means they understood what pi was, what phi was, even what Planck's constant is. I just showed you that they understood what the finite constant is, the coupling constant. That's not by happenstance. That is not a coincidence. No matter what you say, just because they're not doing it the way you're used to seeing science being done is what I'm saying. And that's the problem. We only used to seeing science being done one way. That's it. You never seen science done a different way. That's the problem that you're not understanding.
Okay. Thank you, Mansa. You kind of like brushed on it. Your answer is very clear. You are saying that there is a very peculiar approach to science in Africa where they combine spirituality with science. But one of the things that one of our great scholars said, Obenga, he says science, the purpose of science is to find definitive solution to practical problem. Definitive solution to practical problem. So I'm walking to my village, and then there is a river, and now I can't cross. I start thinking, how do I cross this river? Then I start to do experiment. Can I walk on a bamboo? Can I build a bridge? I start thinking to find definitive solution to that practical problem. So if you say African have certain science which combines spirituality, can you give on a practical one that we can apply right now and see how it works? Different from, because from all I've seen is that if you go to the Limbombo bone, all the discovery we find in Africa, it's the same math, it's the same calculation, it's the same math that we find anywhere. It's the same human being trying to find definitive solution to practical problems. The only thing I can say was different in the ancient time was the purpose for which they were doing science then were more spiritual based. They were trying to be more spiritual. They were trying to find more meaning to nature and life. It was, what about modern science is materialistic? You can say that, but you can't say the science itself was mixed with spirituality. There could be, every civilization have a different reason why they were doing that science. Like nations, some people build nations for gods. The nations were built to worship gods. So the science were elevating those gods. Today, nations are built to what is a human civilization just for us. So it's more materialistic based. It's destructive, that's real. We see a lot of things going wrong, that's real, but the science remains science. It's only finding definitive solution to practical problem. I believe in spirituality, in guiding human morality, we trying to find meaning in life or afterlife and whatever, trying to contemplate the purpose of existence. We can do all of these things, but still understand that science is just science everywhere else. Finding a definitive solution to practical problem. There is no secret code I think African had to do things that other people, that was different from other players. Otherwise, they will have a different mathematics. Otherwise, they will have a different chemistry or physics. It's the same. So that's where the thing is that bother me is that to say that there was an African science. I find it very confusing when people say that.
Why? So,
Oh, say my man.
You say. So what I try to show is that if let's say that I've quoted several people that all said that modern science is just now catching up to ancient science, to what they knew. All right. So if modern science is just now catching up to what they already had an understanding of, doesn't that tell you that their approach to doing science was a different approach than what we have today? Because we're surrounded ourselves with, we have a lot of technology that we can communicate and a lot of advancements technologically wise. They didn't have all that, but they had the same information.
So you're making a lot of assumptions. And
well, for me, the assumption that ancient science was advanced than modern science, I think that statement is really overhyped. I don't know. Can you be specific in what area they were advanced?
Yeah. Again.
Hold up, Cedric.
So I said that for example, the Planck's constant, the finite constant, that's a universal constant in the universe.
Yeah, but
it is stop. I'm talking. It is a constant that's engraved into the Khafre pyramid. I mean, it's coded into the pyramid. That's not just a coincidence. You can't do that. You can't build a structure.
Basic geometry.
Everybody get bugged out in here, man.
Basic
control Cedric in here. Hey, man.
Hey, Cedric, let him go ahead and
wow, for real?
Let him finish that, yo. Because he trying to say, cool, let him handle that. We get in next quick.
Plus, we got 2 other people ain't even went.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, Mansa, go ahead.
I was saying you cannot build you cannot build a structure.
Hey, yo, Ankh, hold it down for a minute. Hold it down.
All right, I got it.
I was saying you can't build a structure and have that structure equal an irrational number for what it is. You know what I'm saying?
But what is spiritual about that, Mansa? They just knew it, that's all. They calculated it and they got it. There are things too they didn't get right. If you look at the medical papyri, you can see the mistakes. You can see that they didn't have some deep understanding of certain things that we do today. They didn't understand DNA that we understand today. Okay, even when it comes to understanding the universe, they didn't know about other planets like that we knew about today. So it was just maybe they have some limitations and they have some understanding. What I can agree is that they have a deep, their society, their culture, they appreciated spirituality in their culture and the morality and all of you. They appreciated that very much. And we have to also understand that in the ancient time, all knowledge was kind of fused into one, like the philosophy. Philosophy used to include mathematics. It used to include exact science. It used to include even psychology. Everything was in one philosophia, the love of wisdom. For Greek, it was just one thing. Then the taxonomy came where these knowledge were broken down, were divided. But usually it was all one. In ancient Egypt, it was just one thing, but they were dealing with it in different faculties, but everything was just knowledge at one. So I think we have to come to a realization that science was just science, but they made some push in spirituality. Maybe they made a lot of push in there that we did not do, but they didn't have a science which was somehow supernatural and different from the science we are doing now. I'm not finding evidence for that, like an evidence to demonstrate that there is some spiritual science that you can use right now to find practical solution. Okay, that we can see.
So what I was saying is that being connected to the spirituality gave them that advance, give us that advantage. That's what I was basically trying to say. Being connected to the spiritual world is an advantage for us.
Okay.
All right, I wrote that down. Let's get
I'll step back a little bit. Thank you very much for that. I will read the book you showed up, by the way. I'll try to find it. Thank you.
hold that idea though. That's we want to say you gave him an advantage. Got you. Go ahead, Santan.
Peace, Brother Hercules. Good presentation. Peace to the panel. My question is this here. The word that we're looking for here in this discussion is methodology. You know, the method of doing things, because even in math, we can have a math equation and I can reach my conclusion one way, and I was taught that you can reach your conclusion another way. So in a way, I believe what you're saying has some, credence to it. However, it's the methodology of the way that the ancients did things that is not synonymous with the way that they're doing it now. So that's where we draw in this parallel. So my question to you is this here, and I'm going to keep that in mind. I want everybody to understand the method of the way things are done doesn't have to, if it's one person can try to judge you on the method that you use. However, if it comes out with the same result or a result that's pertaining to the subject matter, then I would say you can name it what you want to name it. But my question to you is this: how do you think that they learned this? The old writing, how they said the hieroglyphs. How did when these hieroglyphs come in? I still don't believe that they really know how the hieroglyphs was transmitted to now. And I'm staying on that because you went back to the ancients. Napoleon wasn't either one of the people who that wasn't his culture. but yet still he developed the antidote to the hieroglyphics. So what do you believe that the hieroglyphics has been how what am I looking for? Because I'm
no, you basically saying that he wouldn't know what the hell he was talking about because the Egyptians couldn't have transmitted their ideas because we couldn't actually read it to know that they was transmitting their ideas.
Yeah, okay.
That's what you basically.
You understand what I'm saying? So I'm asking the brother here because he had a lot of information pertaining to the ancients, right? And just like I don't believe Champollion, developed the way. Huh?
Whether he deciphered the hieroglyphics?
Yeah, that's what I was looking for, decipher. I'm all over the place. I don't believe he did that because what they did was this European had a method and he came up with only way, and I'm gonna land here so other people can talk. Only way you can do that right there is you have to be around the people to be able to, to do that. If you're not around the people, and I agree with with our ancestors who've gone away now, I don't think that the hieroglyph has been,
It's crazy.
Yeah,
I'll just come a little bit. If he didn't decipher it, there is no way we would make sense of the writings.
Right, but you make your own sense.
There's no way we can read a sentence or names of people.
Listen, you should know this yourself.
Did you hear what he just said, yo?
Yeah, I heard what he just said.
We couldn't even have an argument about the Egyptians because we wouldn't know their history. We only know their history because we was able to decipher their language. People don't make languages that you can't decipher, bro. That's crazy.
Right, so you believe that the hieroglyphs has been
it's not and you don't have to be an Egyptian to decipher the Meta-Neches. Champollion and Thomas Young did it. And guess what? They had the Rosetta Stone, which actually had two different forms of Egyptian writing on it with the Greek underneath of it. With the Greek underneath of it. So they had something to work from, bro. Like, we can't do that, bro. But go ahead. Let's let my man.
I'm done. Let somebody else go.
Go ahead, bro. You don't got your name. I forgot your name, yo. You was next. You're at the bottom.
All right. My question was when it came to the
What's up your name, yo?
Kim Netter.
Kim Netter.
But when my question was, I seen you had a slide, what it was called. You called it the Ptah field theory, I believe, or field equation. Are you saying that the equation that was to the right of it was equivalent to what was being depicted in that artwork, or is you just saying that it's basically a metaphor or a symbolic interpretation of it? Because it's a big difference.
No, not at all. I was just using the artwork. I was just using the artwork to represent Ptah. The equation was a model for the first time for what they call Zatepi. That's what I was saying. Not for the picture at all. No.
All right, that's all I wanted to make sure, because I wanted to make sure you wasn't saying that was equivalent to what the people in Kemet was displaying in that artwork.
No.
Okay. All right.
All right, we're gonna go back around the circle again. We're gonna go. You got a burning desire?
Me?
Yeah, you got burning desire.
No, I know it's your turn. Then I was after you. I was just waiting.
Okay. All right. So I want to make this point very clear here. There's a fundamental problem here where you make the statement modern science is in line with the sacred science of ancient Africans of the Nile Valley. Cedric will tell you there's a category error there. You have science versus religion and spirituality. Like I said, this modern science is a method. We're talking about like modeling and falsification and measurements, right? And so that quote actually collapses into sacred science and then treats deities Amen and Re, okay, as they were outcomes of physical principles, okay? That's conceptual. That's a conceptual shift right there, okay? And not evidence-based and scientific evidence. I think that's important for you to understand that. And so I think, me and Sakou have argued over this stuff for years. Sakou know it. And it's refreshing to hear him have this side of the position now. It actually shows his growth. I too shall grow, right? So we never want to make the mistake in thinking that the ancient Egyptians, right, in early times didn't have a proto-science and didn't have ideas that could be transmitted, that could be empirical, right? Just because they had their spirituality. My point is that the fact that they was fighting to separate their spirituality from their science shows an actual shift in history, and it's in this papyrus right here. It's right here. This very papyrus shows a shift in science. So you got what you would call white people, right? This is the Edwin Smith papyrus, right? And it was written between 1900 BCE and 1600. It's the earliest known medical literature consisting of 48 case histories. It describes the conditions and diagnosis and treatment in a rational, systematic way. So prior to this papyrus, bro, it's a medical milestone. So prior to this, nobody was actually doing it. Not the Babylonians, nobody. So this is an actual cultural shift of 350,000 years of Homo sapiens being on Earth. It took them that long to get you this papyrus, bro, to be able to make that cultural shift where they start looking at stuff like, and they was trying to separate, you know, they what they believed in from what they knew, bro. You see, we think that we could just do it. No, bro, that's not how it was, yo. I kid you not, yo. The spirituality got in the way of it. When I say it got in the way of it, that doesn't discount your innate belief in whatever you believe in. What it does is it confuses the matter, because you said that, and I got it written down, spirituality gave them an advantage. But wait a minute. If y'all believe in the creator, which I don't, but the creator wouldn't just be limited to the Egyptians, are you saying that? Then the creator would have gave everybody a daggone advantage, and then everybody would have got there before they did, if that was the truth. Since we're not saying that the Nile Valley Africans are the only one with a spiritual system or need to teach other humans about the creator, which would be ludicrous. It would be Islamic, Christian, and Judaism who claim that they got the only creator. I don't think we're doing this on this panel. You're actually saying that they had an advantage, that all humans had that same advantage. And I'm saying the issue was it took them time to learn to separate the two things because they're used for two different things. That's my point, my brother. You want to respond, and then we're gonna let Cool go, Raw Cool go.
Yeah, because I've read that papyrus years ago, and I believe in the papyrus they still refer to magical spells while they conducting their doing their surgery in there. So it doesn't show.
My fault. Not trying to. Hold on. I just want to make it clear. I know you want to say that, but I'm saying it's noted in science that they was making an attempt. I didn't say they got there. Just for the record. So of course,
so that's not proof. If they were still using magical spells,
no, they wasn't. No, the spell wasn't the reason why they had it. Remember, it's right here. It says it. Yo, listen, we don't gotta argue this. I promise you, bro. It's not. Look, it says, look, the Edward Smith papyrus written in ancient Egypt script from 1900 to 1600 BCE is the earliest known medical literature. Look, consisting of 48 histories. It describes, look, the conditions and diagnosis and treatment, watch this, in a rational and systematic way. That's what it's saying.
So they didn't use magical spells?
No, they not in that, but they were still superstitious, and they still added to it. It would be almost like you going to the doctor, watch this. You go to a Christian doctor, right? He has the wherewithal to prescribe the medicine, but at the bottom of the daggone script, he says John 3:13. You get it? Like, he still thinks that John 3:13 has an effect on the script he just wrote. So they still thought some kind of way, even though they had rational thought, they still added that part in right there that you think that they was some kind of way gave them an advantage. That's the point I'm trying to make, bro. But go ahead. And then we're going to let Ross.
So as you just said, they did not stop using their spirituality at that point, or they was not even trying to stop. Okay, even though whoever wrote that book, that was their perception and their translation of it when they translated it. But I'm pretty sure if you give it to somebody like Joseph Pongo, he would translate it different.
No, that's not true because they got it. They got the Egyptian papyri, meaning they see the Egyptians actually thought that the spells helped do it, but in this particular one, they just separated, bro. But they wasn't quite there yet. Matter of fact, it marks. It's a cornerstone. And did we not hear that? It said it's a milestone, bro.
So what? It says that. So what?
All right, I'm gonna let you. I don't want to bog down the conversation. Go ahead, Raul Kufu.
So my question would be, let me read this passage first, and I'll ask the question. Give me the I asked ChatGPT to give me the definition for pseudo when it's used positively. And it says, when pseudo is used in a positive or neutral sense, which is less common but valid, it generally means symbolic, representational, or modeling something real without claiming to be the literal thing itself. Positive, constructive uses of pseudo. In this sense, pseudo does not mean fake or deceptive. It means a conceptual stand-in, something that represents a deeper truth without being a direct physical manifestation, a functional model, a simplified or encoded version of reality used to explain or express complex ideas. I ask and challenge those that use the word blanketly as something negative. How do you, when you guys hear, like they're saying it here in a positive manner, differentiate? Anybody can answer.
That's Richmond coming to answer. I don't even understand what you were saying. You kind of got me on
I
that.
don't understand the question, Elder.
No, well, I was asking how that word pseudo, because Ankh and Cedric use it a pseudo killer, right? So it's the pseudo killers, but it showed you there's a way it could be used positive. I don't think they want to kill it when it's being used positive, and a conceptual standard would be something that represents a deeper truth without being a direct physical manifestation. A functional model is a simplified or encoded version of reality used to explain or express complex ideas. How can you recognize that positive pseudoism when you're reading anything is what I'm trying to figure out. I asked Cedric. Cedric understand.
I know.
When you're in high school and they're teaching you about electrons, they for the fact that you wouldn't be able to understand quantum and how electrons work on a quantum level, they try to represent it as if there are actual bands that these electrons exist in. It's when you reach to a college level that you get the explanation of quantum entanglement and how electrons actually function, that they don't move, but they appear and reappear in different positions based on their quantum entanglement with another atom. Right? So in high school, you get a pseudo explanation of electrons formation around an atom versus when you get to college or higher levels of understanding where you get the actual explanation. However,
now, the reason I asked that, said that's not right there. The reason I asked that was when our ancestors have been doing spiritual things in a mythological form for babies, like they say babies don't eat steak, they need milk. When they get older, they can take the steak because they can understand, or they can eat it. Like you're saying, when they get to the college level, by that time they can take the pseudo and push it to the side and give them the science behind that.
Share, and subscribe.
Again, that would imply actual having the knowledge that is being implied here. I think when I made the statement, shoehorn fallacy or retro post hoc rationalization, that maybe went a little bit too quickly. That is the exercise of taking modern concepts and fitting them onto the text or illustrations of the ancients without taking their actual cultural context into consideration. When we are doing this, for example, we are missing steps. That's why I interjected. To have a conversation about the quantum, you would need fundamental grasp of electricity. We would need evidence of them having understood electricity before we get to the stage of quantum entanglement and these type of concepts. But we can do this same philosophical exercise with any ancient cosmology. I can do it with the 4 stages of development from the Navajo. You can do this with the ancient Norse mythology. You can fit these concepts into each other by using scientific jargon, vaguely equating concepts and mismatching and pushing ideas. The brother was doing this all the while. For example, he equates basic geometry, basic measurements. He equates basic geometry, which is an aspect of arithmetic, which is a subset of mathematics, and he equates that to scientific knowledge. These are category errors. He equates empirical with physical. Empirical doesn't require actual physical, right? So these are like, if you are not grounded in these scientific concepts fundamentally, then your post hoc rationalization is even more wild, right? I'm sitting here and my head is frying because I hear all the mistakes, the false analogies, just the conceptual errors in this.
All right, Cedric, let him respond.
Yeah, because I'm falling asleep over here. So, like I said in the beginning, when I started this, I said you cannot look at this through European glasses, or all you're gonna do is be confused. And you know, for everything, since everything, I'm just conflating everything. Please explain to me why did they build an 8-sided pyramid? What does that mean, and what does it represent?
Now you're begging the question.
No, that is the question.
Hold on.
Since everything that I just presented to you is pseudo.
No, yeah, I didn't say that.
Explain to me why they built an 8-sided pyramid.
I'm saying that's not germane to the conversation. It's going to take us down a while because I don't know.
No, it's not, because it was a part of my presentation.
Okay, so tell us why they did it then. Go ahead.
I already did. You explain to me why.
I don't know, bro. Is that okay? I don't know.
Cedric, go ahead. Go.
It was an ancient monument.
Right.
Why?
What? To honor the king.
The honor whatever they're doing. They practice.
Why? Because he was the king. And we see the stages of development in the pyramid building. So there too, we see a trial and error process until they got it right. So even there, we see the development of building technology, of construction. We see it.
All right, let's move on to the next. Let me make this point. Hold on, I just want the listening audience to know, you should never take away walking from your baby. Your baby does not come out the womb walking. There are steps to get to walking. Anybody that have any kids know, your kid don't come out running. First, he has to crawl, right? First stages, that would be the early stages in science. They're crawling. And they're surviving for 1,000 years based off the crawl, right? Then they grab hold of something and they stand up. Their muscles get a little more stronger because they're now standing up, right? First, they got to raise their head before they can even crawl. Muscles have to be strong enough. So over time, your baby starts to develop where they can stand up. They're strong enough to their head up. Now they're strong enough to crawl, right? Hold it. Now they're strong enough to grab onto something and pull themselves up. And as they pull themselves up and take these steps, holding on to things, guess what, y'all? Their leg muscles get stronger. And as their leg muscles get stronger, as their confidence starts to get better, they start to learn how to walk, yo. That's exactly how science came to humanity. Go ahead, Ashay. Woosha, you sound like you're having a fit down there. Go ahead and get your thing off, bro. Seem like you're a little bit.
It's killing me, man. It's killing me. Okay. It really is. And respect to the brother, great presentation. And what's really killing me is the fact that I feel like brothers are being very disingenuous to the point that you was bringing forth. Okay. They're really sitting here acting as if there's not a difference between Western science and the African sciences that predate them. Like, matter of fact, because the questions that you asking are so great. Where did they get this geometry from? And what were they doing in Western civilization when we was building these great edifices in Africa? And it's a shame to me that even African brothers is sitting here downplaying Africa like it's nothing. This is crazy to me, bro.
You say
this is. Hold on 1 second. Hold on, wait. Hold on. Let me get this out. I've been very patient.
Oh, you right, good, bro.
Now, when we get to even talking about, the brother was talking about like the Dogen. They sat here, and I'm pretty sure when the Dogen was talking about, you can't deny that they already had the knowledge of what's going on in Sirius, right? We can't deny that. But it wasn't up until what? The European told you that Sirius, what was it, Sirius B, was an official constellation, that then we was like, oh, yeah, the Dogen were actually right. So is this not fair? I feel like, bro, when certain brothers try to downplay brothers' information, and I feel like it's because those particular brothers didn't bring it. The Commissions were already dealing with the golden ratio. What was the European doing in the Western world? And it's cool to say things like, oh, yeah, we can apply these sciences to any other culture. But why weren't the European? Why weren't your Grecians, your Romans, even your Arabs? Why wasn't they? Why weren't they going to these other spaces and places to get the knowledge that they was getting? Why were they going to this particular space and place that the brother is talking about in Kemet, on and out, to go get this information? You get what I'm saying? It's crazy to me. And to sit here and act as if the geometrics and the science didn't have nothing to do with the actual spirituality is even crazier. Like the Arabs didn't have to believe that when they introduced the pentagram and the hexagram, that they were trapping spirits. Use certain geographic angle. I mean, you see certain geometrical angles and things.
Like, is my secret weapon, bro. He's my secret weapon, bro. Y'all better be ready.
Like this really, it has to stop. It has to stop. It has to stop. And then the word, hold on, wait, because there's even Kemetic words that then transcend to the deity itself, right? Like language is a science in itself, right? Study language, that's a science, right? So to say that the language, okay, if I was to say Ra in Kemet, I could be talking about the sun, right? But just as quick as I'm talking about the sun, you go read a papyri where Ra got a whole story attached to him. So right then and there, the linguistical understanding of Ra in the sky crosses paths with Ra in the story. We go act like it don't. Come on, man. I know y'all want to respond. Let me land. I'm done.
No, I'm saying I go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
So yeah, I mean, I agree because like what I've shown is you're saying that I'm trying to attach modern day concepts to the ancient ones, and I disagree with that because I've shown you that. All right, think about it like this. We know that they practice a spirituality. They believe in the spiritual world and all that stuff, right? So the question would be, how do you model that? How do I show that the spiritual world is something not tangible, but real? How do I build a model to represent that? And so what I showed was that they used the pyramids as a model. The 8-sided pyramid is specifically a model to represent the spiritual realm. Why else would you build an 8-sided pyramid?
Just like the Jared pillars, right?
It is a physical representation. And then you have to think about, if you think about, like I said, complex numbers only map to the 4th dimension. The 4th dimension is the spiritual world. If they only map, they don't map to our dimension. So then if you start to read their text, when you start to look at the text, the weighing of the heart against a feather, we know the heart is real. But you can't weigh a heart against a feather. The feather will have to represent the what? The spiritual imaginary world. The imaginary numbers that we get from complex numbers. That's how I'm looking at it. I'm not just placing stuff there because the physical representation of the buildings of the pyramids, of Khafre's pyramid, of the step pyramid that represents, it actually represents the singularity in the Big Bang. It's showing you that. And it's there are numbers built into it. The fact that it has the Planck's constant built into it is not a mistake. It's not a coincidence. And that's what I'm saying.
So, okay.
And I do want to reiterate, I was on your side with my statement, brother.
Hold on for a
minute. I was on your side.
Bro, you cutting in. I thought you said you're going to be the patient one. So I'm saying, don't talk that talk, walk that walk. Get in the ring with that. You're going to get the brakes beat off of you. You got Cedric here. You got Sakou here, who I think you don't even know Sakou. Me and Sakou done fought this fight for. I'm saying right now, yo, Sakou will beat you up. Talking to you, Ashe. He'll beat you up. You know why he'll beat you up? Because guess what we all recognize here. And if don't nobody know it, Sakou know it. Sakou know that we all started that place. I caught Sakou before he continued along his African development. I caught him in the optional books, right? He was at the same space I was 20 years ago. I caught him there. And guess what? And guess what he did? We fought. And guess what? Hey, yo, I learned a lot from Sakou in them fights, bro. But guess what? He learned a lot from me. So I'm saying right here, right now, yo, you do not understand African spiritual system, right? You have no idea about what science really is. And guess what? All you want to do is y'all want to use.
You don't know who you're talking to, bro.
Listen. Hey, listen. All they're doing is they're usurping the African origin of STEM. That's what you're doing. You do not want them to lay down a foundation. You don't want that. You know what you want? You want science to be easy, right? You want to be a walk through the park. You think you can just look at something and tell where disease come from. You think you can just read it. No, bro. It took humanity over 350,000 years, and they come to the point in that papyrus that we just talked about, where it was a shift in daggone thinking, bro, where it's recorded. I'm not going to say the shift didn't come before that, but it's actually recorded where humanity started to shift. And guess what it did? Everything started to take off. And then when you get the modern science, where they totally separated, see, you think separating your science and your spirituality some kind of ways hampers your spirituality.
The pyramids was already built now.
Enhances it. No, I'm saying that separating science from spirituality does not take away from the African spiritual systems. It does not take away from humanity believing in a spiritual system. It does not. What it does is it puts it where it's supposed to be. It's
Okay.
a system. It's a cultural container of ideas, music, song, dance, all kind of things. You don't have to have science in your spirituality.
If I may, bro. If I may,
I'm gonna go to the next one.
We not hold on, wait. I should have the right to respond to that at least, bro.
No, we're moving forward. We're not doing
Come
that.
on, man. Let him
Go
respond.
ahead. Hey, Elder,
Come on, man. Suntan said let me respond, bro. Come on with it, man.
are you giving up your spot?
Listen.
Suntan, hold on. Suntan, are you giving up your spot to him because you can't
He
be
been manipulative.
Yeah, let him respond. He got to let him fight, man. You can't just talk and say all of that and don't let him say nothing.
my turn and you was next, but now you cut out. Go ahead.
Thank you, Elder. Thank you, Elder.
Thank you, Elder.
Thank you, Elder. So first of all, don't worry about what Sakou go do. What can you do with me? Sakou will mop the floor with you. That's the first statement. That's the first statement. He'll wipe the floor with you. Second, you talking about African spirituality, but then you talking about separating the spirituality from the science. Now, last time I was here, I had to check you and Jabari. You and Reggie and Jabari had to come and actually confirm everything that I had told y'all, because y'all didn't even know about the existence of a pre-dynastic Kemetic priest for some reason, right? So here we are once again. I'm finna school you again. When they had, this is something that your I know you know about this, your Library of Alexandria, how that was set up, that was based off of Ankh temples, correct? Ankh. Do you even know that term? You probably don't. Ankh temples, what was going on inside of them? They was practicing your mathematics, basic education. They was practicing cosmology, what was going on in the stars. And they were also studying spirituality, all in the Ankh temple. So for you to say that there was a separation when you was walking up in one university to get all of this knowledge, that's crazy. So tell me, where was the separate school at that you will go to just get, I guess, mathematics, and then what was the other school that you would just go to get the spirituality? Because if you know what a Ankh temple is, then you know that it held both of them.
You saying in pre-dynastic times?
No, I'm not talking about pre-dynastic time. That was your last lesson I have to school you on. We talking about what was going on in common knowledge, what's going on through the dynasty.
His name is Ashe, This is Ashe right here, man. Sakou, my man Cedric. There's a new sheriff in town, baby, for real.
SaNeter, this is what you did to what's that guy named that defeated Jabari?
Yeah.
You gave him a win, and now for 3 years he said he defeated Jabari.
Oh, Tahuti. Well, there's a new sheriff in town, baby. His name is Ashe.
Peace and blessing, Ashe.
Ashe.
Yeah, greeting and respect.
SaNeter, I don't think you don't gotta big up him, right? And throw dirt on me.
I would never throw dirt on you, brother.
I
would never throw dirt on you, Never.
No, I want to do this. Hey, Sakou.
I respect you as a hell of a scholar, brother. So
no, you think you gotta, I'm saying he gonna get his own acclaim on his own.
Okay. Yeah.
Go through me.
Oh, man.
But you ain't ready for me. I'm saying you definitely can't get past Cedric. He'll beat the brakes off you half to death. You sure as hell can't get past Sakou. See, Sakou represents a measuring stick of learning and transferring from one position to another seamlessly. He won't take.
Okay.
Hey, cool. How do you think me and your battles went? I'm telling you, I learned a lot from our battle. How do you think you and me battles went? Seriously.
You see, for me, when it comes to knowledge, I'm looking for truth and the fact. I'm not there to defend dogma. And this is the problem with many people. They approach this subject with a very dogmatic belief that I will never change my position. For me, when I see facts, when I see the truth, I change my position. When I had the debate with Ankh, I went to do research. I bought a lot of books. Okay? I bought so many books. I went on Amazon trying to prepare. But as I tried to connect the dots, because I was trying to see spirituality and science. So I got as many books as I can get, starting from Obenga down. I got them. Then I went into science also. I got some textbooks. So one thing that became very clear to me, one is that science is universal. You have to understand that first of all. A man in an African village, whether it was 10,000 years ago, he felt like the environment is hot, but I can't drink hot water. I need to drink cold water. What do I do? He began to see that the clay, when he makes the clay pots, it will be able to keep the water at a certain temperature. He started thinking. He can write whatever spell he wants on that clay pot, but that's not what is making the water to be cool. He discovered that the clay pot will make his water in a certain way. He started building his house in a certain way. If you go to China, you see the development started in the same way. You go everywhere and they learn from each other. There is no African sign, there is no Chinese sign. The mathematics is the same, 1 + 1, 2. Okay? Even the Limpopo bone that were found, the calculation that was on it, you find it's the same thing. It goes, if you look at the astronomical observation they were doing, everything you see, their scientific process is just the same, but the development is different. Some people are very advanced. Some people did not. Even Africa, you are talking about. When they were building the pyramids, there were some Africans who were walking around naked. They don't want to build pyramids. They don't care about it. When some other people were writing in the Nile Valley, some Africans didn't want to write.
Right.
So you can say why European were backward and we build a pyramid. Talk about some other African, not even European. There were some other African who never wrote. They didn't want to write. But
Okay.
Spirituality tried to give people meaning. We find the meaning in existence. Why do I? It's philosophical. Why do I live? What is the purpose of life? They put that in everything they do, in their morality, in even their every knowledge and everything they try to find. They connected with their spirituality. But science, we find out that it finds definitive solution to practical problem. It's the same everywhere. There is no Russian science. Russians do not have a different science going to space. Chinese do not have a different science going to space. The calculation is the same. If you don't get the equation, you will not get the job done. If you miss that equation, you will never get the same formula. Why do we all take the same vaccine? Why is it that African don't create Africa have a different vaccine and then Chinese have different vaccines? You can have different companies. Calm down. I understand this thing. We want to think that this pyramid are mysterious. Therefore, there was certain type of lost knowledge. There was certain lost spiritual knowledge somewhere. Today, the Europeans are going to space. Where is Africa? The Europeans are building. Africa is not catching up yet. We are fighting to catch up. So all this spiritual knowledge and things, spirituality is very good. I remain spiritual. I pour my libation every morning. But we need science, practical, definitive solution to practical problem. And we got to differentiate it from myth. We got to differentiate it from spirituality to get it right.
None of what you said really takes away from the fact that the brother was bringing what I brought. The fact of the matter, you still admitted that there, even outside of Kemet, there were still many other African cultures who were moving very advanced as far as the way that they were living, as far as them setting up irrigation systems. My question still remains, what was happening on the western side of the world? They had none of it.
That's not true, bro.
None of it. When they were doing it, what were they doing? And it's so...
Hold on for a minute. Hold on for a minute.
Hold on. What you mean, hold on for a minute? What you got?
Listen, and then you come in. Let him finish, and then you come in.
Because it's like, because the original question was not like, let's go look at primal Africans versus advanced Africans. We're looking at what the information that this brother brought. Them. The information this brother brought. Ain't this what the topic is based off of? We see he's talking about the advanced civilization that's going on the African continent. When these things are going on the African continent, who's coming over there learning these concepts? Who got to get taught not to see? You're talking about science as if they had even a knowledge of a science. They didn't have science really over there in the Western world. If you sleeping with your animals, you don't know too much about science, do you?
Bro, now you are entering into conspiracy.
If you don't like, and then and then I heard also what you said, Sakou. And when if you can't properly blend spirituality with science, then I then gotta question your understanding of how in depth your science goes. Because if you can't look at, for example, the primordial Yahuwah, a desert god, there's a science even within that, right? When you attribute the attributes of being desolate, having no life, but then being the one to actually bring forth the life once the desert is done. But see, you're talking about rebirth. See, yes, you do see other cultures adopting there's nothing wrong with sharing it, and then other cultures getting advanced, via their own, trial and error or getting directly influenced. I don't have a problem with that. I'm not saying that's exclusive African science. That's not what I'm saying. Oh, this is exclusive to the continent of Africa. No. But I'm talking about the genesis and where you see this being very prevalent in its inception, in its beginning. You see this happening on the continent, not over there in those other spaces and places. They have their own concepts. Don't get me wrong. But who's going over there to who's going to learn about Odin and the mathematics that Odin and Thor bring?
Hold on, bro. You transferring ideas in the middle of the country. Like you switch it. Like, can you guys stay coherent?
We talking about spirituality, Western spirituality versus Eastern, Western science versus Eastern. I got the right to do what I'm doing.
No, what I'm trying to say, do you agree that spirituality is not science?
Spirituality can be science. It is not solidified as just science. No, you have some spirituality that has nothing to do with science at all.
Falsified.
Say it again.
Can spirituality be falsified?
Absolutely.
Crazy.
Give me an example.
A falsified spirituality? Yeah. I would say the Hebrew Israelite spirituality is falsified.
No,
it's doesn't even know what the word falsified means.
You don't.
It's falsified.
Let me explain what I'm not looking for a got you moment. I'm just trying to have a conversation.
So it's not a got you moment. That's my honest answer, brother.
If I say water boil, if I make a claim in science, I say that water boil at this degree, 100 degree or 60 degree. That's a claim. For that to be true, somebody can say, I will falsify. I will try to boil water at 10 degree and see if it boils. If the person does that and it boils at 10 degree, my theory is debunked. But if the person does it and you find out that it's exact, that means I've given people the opportunity to falsify my theory, but they find out that it is true. But when I make a claim in spirituality, for example, that if I die, I will be judged, there's no way anybody to prove that. And there's no way anybody to falsify that.
Yes, that's subjective. That's subjective.
Okay, it's subjective. So that's what I'm saying. Can you separate that from science?
Absolutely, bro.
Has nothing to do with falsification.
No, man, you fall back. Ain't nobody talking to you.
Hold on, Cedric. Hold on, whoa. Everybody stop for me. Everybody relax. Yeah. Listen, bro. I got a question for you. It's called the litmus test. I realize what's going on here. Can you tell the listening audience what the definition of a scientific theory is? And if you can answer that question properly, then I'll know you'll understand the conversation.
A scientific theory is a theory based on gathered analysis and data.
Nope.
So what is it, Ankh?
Nope.
What is it, Ankh?
Scientific theory is a well-tested, well-substantiated organizing of scientific facts that can be rigorously tested and falsified. That's what it is. And it come by way of the scientific method, which starts off with a question. That's what it is. So if you understand that, bro, then you understand that spirituality is just like he said, it cannot be falsified. You can.
So you wanted me to give you the definition that you reading off of your screen. You didn't want me to paraphrase in my own words. Yeah, you got life messed up, fam.
Well,
that ain't how it works.
Definition hold on, show you why you can't go into the realm you was trying to go in.
Right. Hold on.
I really don't need like no explanation as far as what I'm saying. Actually, like what's happening right now is you trying to play the role as if you are somehow the superior when it comes to like this verbiage and the terminology that's being utilized, and you don't have that, brother.
Ashay, you may pronounce words better than me. I'm sure you do. I am telling you, brother, that I did not read anything off the screen this particular time. Most times I do, but I didn't for that. I am telling you, for you to understand the conversation, it is important, right, that you understand what a scientific theory is. He asked a very serious question. He said, can spirituality be falsified? Your answer was yes. That means you do not understand what science is. And that's okay. We always...
Wait. How can you define science off him asking the question about spirituality?
Go to the next verse, because he asked a question about spirituality.
Okay, and then how do you define science based off me answering the question about spirituality, Ankh?
Means you don't know what falsified means. So if you don't know what falsified means, determine science.
How? Oh, wait. Now, what does falsified mean? Because I'm finna really pull your car. Because I think you flim-flamming for real. What does falsified mean?
It means that you can test it and prove it to be wrong. How the hell can you prove a person God?
And when I said that the Hebrew Israelite God is falsified right now, it's millions of followers. Hold on, wait, you slow down. Millions of followers call out to this God each day, professing that they have miracles and things of that nature happening in their life, right? And God is responsible for that, right? That's falsified by the definition that you laid out, Sakou, correct?
You gotta prove it to be able to say it's falsified. How could you test it?
What do you mean if you have a wailing wall? If you have a wailing wall, right?
Finish real quick. You have to be able to put it to a test and be able to say that it's false by proving it through testing it. You can't test somebody's spirituality and go into the spiritual realm and come back and say, "Oh, you're wrong." You can't do that.
No, you talking about death. Okay, in an instance where we have the Wailing Wall, right? Where they go and they pray for the wall to fall, right?
A very specific thing, bro. That you cannot falsify.
Hold on, wait. When they go to the Wailing Wall and they pray for that wall to fall, right? And we've been sitting here for the last, since you've been alive, everybody on this panel been alive, and that wall ain't fell, right? We can look at that spirituality and that practice and say that's obsolete because y'all been doing this for centuries and nothing has happened.
You can't yell.
Y'all gotta stop it, bro. Y'all disingenuous, dude.
You talking
real talk.
Hold on. What you're saying is that human beings cannot go to a wall and talk and make it fall down. That is
correct.
Falsifiable. But the God that they're praying to is not falsifiable, bro. Go ahead, Sakou.
Yeah. So, Ashay, I was very clear when I asked you about the issue of falsification. And your answer, you were trying to say Hebrew, somebody is echoing.
Yeah, Kim, that's you. Kim. All right, hold on. All right, there you go. That was you, Cedric. Go ahead.
Let's be very specific with our beliefs. Nobody can falsify anybody's belief. Even if you ask Hebrew Israel, he would say, I spoke to my God yesterday. He would say that God is not, I responded to it. All the pastors go on TV right now. I just spoke to God. You can disprove it and prove it. Okay? And we are not saying he's even lying because there is no way for me to know he's lying.
You know what, Sakou? I'm gonna put it like this, and I respect you. And since he want to offer it like that,
no, you just
would you take that as a debate topic?
No, you just cut him off, bro.
I just want to end it right here because I don't think it's going in.
No, you just cut him off.
So I just wanted to end so we can move on. Would you take that as a debate topic?
Bro,
that God can be disproved, that spiritualities can be disproved.
Bro,
do you want to do that?
Determination to cut that man
off. Falsify spiritual concepts.
Do you want to?
Because it is subjective. So anything that is subjective, you can falsify it.
Crazy.
If I say that I'm feeling happy or angry right now, you don't know that. You can't tell. You can't go inside me to know in my consciousness. It's subjective to me. So I'm
So
telling
you telling me that there are not spiritualities that can be debunked and disproved?
Science deals with empiricism and falsification. We will all be able to test it and see whether what you are saying is right. If falsification is possible, there won't be Abrahamic religion, won't be divided. Allah won't be saying different things to Christian.
It can be. That's why they pseudos.
All right. Hold on, everybody. Let me get Hercules back in here.
Call me when you're done.
Hercules, come on. All right, I got you, babe.
I love you.
All right, love you too. All right, Hercules, let's go.
Yeah, so I think that I did show that you can use you can use to figure out whether or not something is true or not, whether it's spirituality or not. And you're forgetting we're approaching this from a Western mindset. And one of the things that you learn when you read African philosophy and start reading these books is that they grew up in a culture where people are raised from birth or their initiation as a teenager. They're raised not to lie. They're raised into a culture for these elders. They're raised not to be. They don't lie. They always tell the truth, and they do that because they understood that there's repercussions in the spiritual world. Once you may lie now, but once you pass away, you're gonna have to pay for it. And then that's an understanding, a concept, an idea that we don't perceive it, we don't think of it, because we want our heaven and whatever benefits in life here right now in the material world. We don't know. We just here limited times. We have to return. So as I've shown, I've shown you that when you're taking one of my equations that I showed was the ritual sacrifice, how when you're using physical energy, the change from the physical energy transferring to the spiritual realm. This ritual sacrifice, you can model it as a mathematical problem, and then using, I would say, like stochastic differential equations, you could figure out whether or not the event that took place, does it have an effect? You have to use that model.
Like,
okay,
share,
so there's ways of doing it. It hasn't been done because we haven't been thinking this way. This is something that I just came up with. So it's stuff like this that, I want to work on and see that, see if you can. Let's see if you can actually prove that. Let's see if we actually do that. Yeah, that's stuff to work on. That's stuff to see that you can do it. Because if they say that spirituality is real and it has an effect on the physical world, then how do we prove it? How can we show it? That's just something that people, you could work on it. I say it's something that needs to be worked on instead of just outright saying, no, it can't be done. That's something we need to be working on instead of, just to find out. You know what I'm saying? So, and as the brother was trying to say, the advancement of the ancestors, the advancement that they did in Kemet, as I was pointing out, they left behind their information. They left behind what they knew. They put it into the pyramids, what they knew. And it shows. It's not nothing that you just looking at and say, oh, well, that looks just like this and this and that. No, there is physically, I keep saying this. It is impossible. It is just impossible to build something and just happen to equal the finite constant. It just happens to equal the Planck constant. That's impossible. That means they had an understanding of what those things were. And they designed them into the pyramid to show us that they knew this. It's not lookership.
All right. Hey, you said before he go through anybody, he got to go through you. Do you want to smoke with the brother?
Let me just
hold on, Cedric. You next, Cedric.
I'm saying he gotta get his weight up before.
Oh, come on, so now you don't want to smoke with him?
No, I'm
backing down.
I'm standing with all the smoke. I want him to show me that he can get past Cedric. Right?
Oh man, Cedric. All right, hold on. Cedric, do you want to smoke with him?
Hold on for a minute, so don't interrupt, yo. This is important, bro.
All right, go ahead. Go ahead, up.
You have not allowed Cedric to have a debate like me and Sakou did. I think he's
ready. Be scared. I always be asking him to come on.
Just let me finish. I think he's ready for that now. I think he's gonna knock yo out. Now, if he happened to get lucky and Cedric die before the event and then get past Sakou, then me, being who I am, yo.
Oh, now you. You act like you the king of all of them.
I'm saying, nigga, I'm saying
nah, he got to get past Cedric, you, and then Sakou.
Okay, do it that way. I don't see. I don't care. But what he not gonna do is
that sound right, sir.
Listen, I ain't mad. What he not gonna do is right. He not gonna come in unproven, yo, and get a shot at that real motherfucking scientific champ. See, that's
no profanity, no profanity.
You know, so he can't get that.
Did you hear me?
I heard you.
No profanity, brother.
I got you. My fault.
Okay, so Cedric,
I'm just right, sir. He needs to go through me because I am not anti-spirit. I'm with spirituality.
Oh, so you saying Uncle's right? He need to go through you first. You saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Know what I was talking about?
I can have a conversation with Ashe. I don't mind. We can have a respectful conversation. Let me see what his beliefs are.
But I want Cedric first. Cedric ain't been over here in the toughest environment in a debate yet. So Cedric, what's up? Do you want to smoke with Ashe?
Yeah, Ashe can get all the smoke. This will be my second debate. It'll be just like beating up on Silky. But
all right, in 2 weeks, I'm gonna give you time. In 2 weeks, you got time to put your presentation together. And what's the topic? Let's get it now so everybody can hear.
Let me respond.
Hold on. Let's get this straight so everybody can hear the topic.
They need to have a conversation first.
Can I propose it? Can I propose it?
Yes, go ahead. Propose the topic.
Can spirituality be disproved? Because they all sat up here and said that basically you can't disprove nobody's spirituality.
No, that's a good one. Because I'm getting them going against spirituality.
Can spirituality be proven, bro? We don't disprove anything.
Can it be proven?
You're scientifically illiterate. You see, you come up with a text like that.
Prove
Let
it.
me deal with this jump after I deal with Mansa. You could stay right there. I'm going to deal with you. Mansa, your whole philosophy is built on claims.
Try to turn your joint up a little bit, Cedric. Turn up a little bit.
Your whole philosophy is built on claims that are unsupported. Right? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
First of all, you talk about life after death as if that can be falsified. That is a claim. So when you rest your equations, your Bayesian theory and all of these equations on claims that are unsupported, for which you have no evidence, you are misusing science and you're misappropriating mathematical systems. Because your whole philosophy rests on claims that are unsupported. Life after death, a tribe that claims to have no lives because they're going to suffer punishment in the afterlife. This is exactly the unfalsifiable claims that Sakou was talking about. Now you are foregoing the scientific philosophy, which is methodological naturalism. It makes no claims for or against the supernatural. So again, to claim that you can apply mathematics and quantify an unquantifiable concept because spirituality has no definition is ludicrous at best. And your whole build is on a foundation that is a fallacy. It is again called post hoc rationalization. And until you address that issue, everything you say here is pretty much hot wind. Now, let me deal with this.
No, stop. I'm replying to that. I'm replying to that right there. All right. First of all, if you have any problem with anything that I showed, it's up to you to disprove it. I already showed you the math behind it. I already showed you how it equates.
Bring it out, Hercules. Bring it out.
No, you didn't. Your whole foundation rests on a pseudo claim, on a claim that is presupposed.
You got to prove it, though. You got to prove it. You just saying it. You got to prove it.
He has no evidence to support his claims.
So prove it. Cedric, you're the one that's saying he's wrong. So prove that he's wrong, Cedric.
He's just making a claim. He has no
Can I do this?
evidence to
Can I do
support
it
his
real
claim.
quick?
So
Can I
again,
do it real quick?
he is engaging in a complete fallacy, and you're asking me to prove a negative. This is a logical fallacy, just like my brother coming up with a topic to disprove something. First, you have to be able to prove it.
I'll prove it in 5 minutes. Give me 5 minutes.
All right, hold on. I see the brother said, let the brother bring forth a presentation first. All who had debates on SaNeter platform first had their own presentation of what they believe on their own thoughts process. Family, he do have a presentation coming up on Wednesday. So Ashe will be delivering a powerful PowerPoint presentation, and that is coming up this Wednesday. So, I mean, if y'all debaters, y'all want to be in the building to watch that. He got some fire for you.
I hope you're watching.
All right.
Can I get a question in, sir?
Hold up. Let Cedric finish, and then I go to you, Rakufu. Go ahead, Cedric.
So if you want to debate, you're going to have to show us how you can prove spirituality, because to falsify something, it has to be proven. Like my brother Sakou explained, we can prove that water boils at 100 degrees. So we can falsify that by trying to boil it at 10 or at 20 or at 30. Every attempt to falsify that fact is going to end up establishing that fact, because the thermometer is going to reach 100 degrees Celsius before and that water will boil. That is falsification. So if you make the claim of spirituality, you need to be able to prove it to falsify it. A claim, a claim has
okay, bro. I heard you.
Now hold on. He's talking to Massa. He's talking to Hercules.
So let me say this, and I would say this for all of y'all who disbelieve me, and I want you guys to disprove me. Now I've already shown. I don't think I gotta share my screen again, but I've already shown you. I said my claim was, this was my own finding. My claim is that the Great Pyramid is a representation of the spiritual realm. It is 8-sided pyramid. It represents the spiritual world because complex numbers do not map to the third dimension that we live in. They only map to the fourth dimension and above. The Great Pyramid from above is an exact equation of Z equals the fourth root of -1. All the angles around the Great Pyramid are equal. They all have 4 singularities. You show this. I've shown this. Now, they built that as a physical representation to show you the transition from the physical world to the spiritual world, because it only lights up. You can only see those creases when Ra comes up out of the spiritual realm, and when Ra goes back into the spiritual realm is the only time you can see the 8 sides of the pyramid. That is their way of telling us that the physical world is related and connected to the spiritual world.
So the planet rotating.
I asked you, why did they build an 8-sided pyramid? My claim is that it represents Z equals the square root, the square root of -1 to the 4th. That is my claim, and I've shown that. Now disprove it.
Brother, you just claimed that the Earth's rotation, which provides us with day and night, represents the sun moving into the spiritual realm. Now, you see how that is ludicrous at best. And now you want me to disprove your claim for which you have no evidence. Do you see the irrationality of your whole?
Because you have to first show us spiritual realm. How does it look like?
What'd you say?
If you said the pyramid represent certain spiritual realm or dimension, you need to first of all define that dimension or that spiritual realm for us to know its qualities and its measurement before now we can compare it with the pyramid.
Quick question. Can I get it in with him, sir?
So show all the spiritual realm.
Fourth dimension represents time, as a matter of fact.
Sakou, I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Before you do that, Ankh, look in your email and accept that invitation so you can control the gadgets. I gotta move out a minute.
I bet.
Tell me if you got it before I go. I gotta get out of here.
All right, I'm checking.
Go ahead, Rakufu.
Rakufu, go ahead.
Okay, so my question to you, Sakou, since you're an African spiritualist as well, you say you study or practice. When I look the word up, breath and psyche, it says breath and psyche are expressions of the same underlying idea that later English calls spirit, root word of spirituality.
I sent it to Abduel, Abduel.
So to be able to describe any spirituality, we got to go back to the base, which is breathing. So breath itself, the psyche, when you breathe, you conceive thought. That's why as kids used to tell each other, oh, psych, oh, it's over there, psych, try to stop your, throw you off your balance. So I want to know, what is this spirit word that came later that originally originates out of breathing? So when we want to show spirituality, we got to show how to breathe, like the yogas and all those people. Africa had a breathing, so they breathed a certain way. I talked to Ankh before, and Ankh was like, well, I can see how on a basketball team they may practice and they be all incoherent in the same breathing apparatus. So spirituality is nothing for them than being on deck and being attuned and account for breathing in the same unison.
Okay. So, Elder, so when I speak of spirituality...
Hold on. Did you get it? Come on, brother. What's going on? You don't know how to check your email?
You trying to get to the Knicks, man?
No. I don't want to end the show because it's a good show. All right, there you go. Hey, remember, let yourself in, huh? Let yourself in. Let yourself in.
African Diaspora.
Okay, there you go. So, remember, no profanity. You hear me?
I hear you.
And no letting people talk over each other. And one mic. And remember, Mansa Musa, this Hercules, this is his show. So let me.
Hey, Sal, you got to let him know that he can't end. If he ended off that phone, it'll kill the whole live.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he ain't on the phone with it. He on the computer.
Okay.
Hey, son, man, you stay super old. Boy.
All right. I don't know how to do this.
All right, go ahead, Sakou.
All right, so listen, we had a real good space.
Wait, he was finna give me his answer.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so spirit, this is issue of semantics. It's English language. Some say mean breath. So, but from my cultural perspective, when I speak of spirituality, we are speaking like Bambara. If you can Google the word nyama. Nyama is vitality, life, energy that is in all living things.
Is it spelled N-Y-A-M-E in Yame?
And it starts with an N.
Yeah, N. Y-A.
Y-A-M-A, Nyama.
Oh, they do that in Ghana too. Go ahead.
Yeah, they said that there is Nyama in every living thing. We don't know its origin. We don't know where it comes from. But this Nyama is in all living, the essence of things, the very essence of everything that lives around us. So the understanding is that everything is one. It's just appearing in different ways. So we are all connected with the universe and everything else is one. So treat your environment nice, be one. Living death, as we call it, is a death there's no real death. It appears to be that the person died, the person just transformed into another form of nyama or energy or whatever you want to call it. So my spirit, I can't prove all of these things, but I'm saying the spirituality in our people was just based on finding meaning. What is the finding meaning in life? I can find meaning for anything in life, but they are finding meaning. What's the purpose, our essence? Because beyond the material, if you understand all scientific principles, then what? For them, life, we must proceed beyond the material and look at life. There's something more than the material. So therefore, let us be kind. Therefore, let us treat the water and the environment very much better. So these things are good psychologically, philosophically, they are good to keep community and people together. Yeah. But when we are dealing with practical, definitive solution and finding practical solution to problems, science works because we can demonstrate it. If I'm fighting war right now, there are people at my border, they are trying to get me. I'm not thinking spirituality. I'm thinking, what weapon can I get? What can I do to organize my people? I'm looking for definitive solution because there is a practical problem at my border. So life science is very important to this physical life that we are looking at. If you play with it, you get defeated. The people who are ruling the world today is because they are in charge of science. That's all.
So spirituality would be
basically,
spirituality would basically be on point with your people,
with culture, with morality, with society, with organizing society and creating moral compass and direction for the people.
Fine. All right, peace. That's a good one. Yep.
So we've talked about the importance of science in human endeavors. We've also talked about the importance of spirituality in human endeavors. And we talk about how humans arrived at these two different points. We talked about evolution, which most people don't want to agree with, right? How we have evolved, right? Our brains have evolved, okay? And I give the example of in the Stone Age, right? Those who took a look at the leaves rattling and didn't try to explain it and just jumped and ran, survived longer to make it to the age of reproduction. But why? Because even though you might get a false positive, meaning that the leaves ravel and nothing comes out, what about that one time when the leaves rattle, shake, and it happened to be a poisonous snake? In the Stone Age, there wasn't no understanding of once you get bit, take the poison from the snake and make out some venom, some antivenom. That's not possible. Your best defense is to run at all times. So if the high grass moves, you don't stand there and try to calculate it, trying to use science and hey man, that moved this way, so it wasn't actually the wind, it was you don't do that. You run. I give the example of this. Human beings will always make the mistake in saying that a shadow is a human, but will never make the mistake in saying that a human is a shadow. Do you understand what I'm saying? I will always look at Sakou and say, that's a human. I won't say that's a shadow. But I can always make the mistake and say that that shadow is a human. If you was upstairs in your house and the windows crashed in, you're not going to automatically think, hey man, that was actually a branch that fell off a tree that blew into the window. No, you're going to think that maybe a burglar, somebody's trying to get you. So you're going to rush downstairs on defense of that. And when you get downstairs, you're going to realize, oh shit, a tree actually fell through that. Why is that? Because based off of the brain's development and evolution, those that ran, those that had certain fears, made it to the age of reproduction more often than those that didn't believe. And so what I always try to get people to understand, that belief, right, it's a natural thing in Homo sapiens sapiens. It's part of our evolutionary development. It's what makes us who? Our beliefs. It is actually more natural to believe than it is not. So what I'm attempting to do, right, is to move that all the way to the side and say, hey, man, don't believe, let's calculate this. I'm saying that's fine for 2023 and 2025, but it was never fine for Stone Age brains. It was never fine for that because you wouldn't have had time to make up for that mistake, right? And so evolution was co-opted. Your believing brain was co-opted by religion, meaning they took advantage of something that evolved. Go ahead, Sakou. You're on mute. Can't hear you. You're on mute. You didn't unmute yourself.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
We evolve as we go. We try to learn. There's no got you moment here. We're just trying to understand things. I'm currently doing a BA degree in psychology at the University of Guelph. And one of the things I've been learning recently, that people have a mental issue called existential crisis. It's a thing. It happened to human brain. You can have existential crisis. Let's say you lost a parent or you lost a family member, someone dear to you. You start questioning everything around you. Even whatever you are doing, whether you are looking for money, you can even be a nuclear scientist. You come back in the evening, you say, what is the point of all of this? Why am I even here? What's the purpose of this planet? That can lead to a huge problem, but belief sometimes help people. Because when you have existential crisis, sometimes having a spiritual belief, This is where it becomes helpful to you.
Mhm.
This is where you can apply your spiritual belief to console yourself. It helps you. But do not conflict it with the facts. Okay? It is something that helps. It's part of our evolution. We do have existential crisis, and beliefs help us to cope. Okay? It's a coping mechanism for existence. But then people take it too far with dogma and then treat it as a fact. Let's say you and I walking along in the forest and we are looking for water. We are very thirsty and we see a valley very far away. And I said, whenever you see a valley, there's water in there. It's an assumption. It's based on what I know. But the fact is we don't know for sure. But then if you treat that as a fact and someone said, look, I have water right here with me. You said, no, I see a valley, therefore there's water. There's a chance you get there to that valley, there's no water. You are making an assumption. So spirituality, when I die, this will happen, I will go to heaven. They are all beautiful stories. I love them. But can we treat them as an assumption, as things that we don't really know for sure? And science is not that. Science, if you can prove it, don't say it's a fact. If you can't prove it, it is not a fact yet. You can just say it's a claim. You can say I'm assuming or I'm thinking. These things are beautiful. But why our people don't want to accept that? To say that we are making assumption. It's a philosophical thinking. Why can't we get to that point and then say that scientific fact is very different? If you treat spirituality as science, I'm telling you, the whole world will go forward and leave you behind. The whole world they will go to the moon, they will colonize other planets and meet us here and treat us as cattle. We need to really graduate.
Hey, Sakou, let me say this. I think this is important. That the funny part about this is when you're reading works talking about the Portuguese and how they first came into Africa, right? You know, early on in my development, I say, yo, they came in there and they beat them with technology. The truth is that African technology was higher than the European technology, right? And they beat them all the way to the point where the daggone Portuguese had to say, whoa, we can't. They was like, okay, we got to bow down to the African trading systems. When they came down them rivers and they ran into them African war boats, right? With the steel, with the not the steel tips, but the brass tips, right? And the iron tips and the poison tips, yo, they ran them white boys up out of there, yo. They beat them when the white boys was coming in snatching up Africans, right? The early Africans that encountered them say, yo, the Christians are cannibals. They thought they was cannibals. They didn't know why they was snatching people. They said they take them people and eat them. But they beat them when they was trying to snatch them up and raid and all that. Yo, they beat them half to death with the technology because they could surround their ships, cut them off from the rest of the ships, and hit them with poison arrow, which is the technology, to have the ability to take a poison, right, and administrate it through an arrow is technology. And it would kill them. And the Portuguese had to stop raiding because they got beat. Nobody talks about that. So nobody talks about the Navy that the indigenous Africans had that was better than the European Navy. Why would that be? Because their ships was fit for the rivers. They could make the quick turns, they could surround them and put 100 men in there and boom, boom, that's your ass's grass. You get the point I'm making here. So it was always technology. The musket was not better technology than the poison bow and arrow because you get one shot, boom, right? And then they throw 100 spears at you and 1,000 bows and arrows. While you're trying to load it up, you did. They ran them out of there, ladies and gentlemen. I just want to say that. So it's always technology and science, right? That will always wage the battle. Now, say, cool, I am not sitting here today and saying that people should not pray to their spiritual power before they go to war. I've never said that. I'm saying you got to put in this proper perspective like you just said. Do whatever you got to do because spirituality is more than just a God and belief. It's song, it's dance, it's wedding ceremonies, it's funeral traditions, it's art, it's music, it's a lot of things. It encapsulates the culture. It's ancestor worship, it's ancestor understand. It's all of that. It's not just believing in a God. You may have a God, you may just have ancestral worship. I recognize that most people don't even understand that. So we should never mix the two because it was the two mixed up did not allow science to go off like this. When they unmixed it, science did this. Boom. It took off. to which Africans may have a cultural difference in the way they practice science. Let's say that there can be cultural differences amongst the Chinese, right? Amongst the Russians, amongst indigenous nations in Africa, the way they convey their ideas, right? But they all convey their ideas through a universal system that's called science. And you can do it different culturally, but 1 + 1 will always be 2. The chemical element chart never changes from being the chemical element chart. And oh, by the way, hold on, I'm gonna finish off with this. And oh, by the way, there are indigenous cultures and indigenous tribes that have children that have went to school and become scientists and still go back home and practice their tradition and bring back a wealth of knowledge that helps the community. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah. Brother Massa, I used to live in a village in Ivory Coast, western part of Ivory Coast. And when I was growing up in the 90s, we have this village where the tribes there, they have a forest where they said it's a spiritual ancestral forest. Nobody can go there. You can touch the trees. You can touch the fish. They don't even eat fish. They don't eat. So for them, they go there, they do the rituals and what have you. And for them, it was a spiritual place that nobody should touch it. Not knowing these people were conserving the forest. They were taking care of that, but they put it in a context where they said the ancestors lived there. You can't go there and you can't do that. You can't cut down the trees. When the Europeans came, this is 90s, I'm telling you, and they came with their businesses. They were like, hey, we can go there. And they were like, no, if you go there, you will be struck dead. But the European went there and started cutting down trees. And they got to the kings and gave them money. The king was like, we don't go there. We are scared of that place. But if you can give us money and you go there, cut down the trees. And the European went and started cutting down the tree. Today, if you go there, the entire forest is gone. Now, we can say that these people were very knowledgeable, but they put it in a context where they couldn't explain to their people that we are preserving this forest for a scientific reason or for environmental reason. And hereas their children would have prevented the white men from going there. But they were telling that there was a spirit reason why you couldn't go to the forest. So when the white man went there, they thought the white man was brave. Or they were like, the white man is brave. He entered that forest and they let him do the thing. But they could have understood that we were doing it for environmental reason. They would have stopped the white man from cutting down those trees. So our people had a context of their science, but it was the same science. But it's just that there was spirituality in it, for their environment, for everything that they do. We understand that. But we should now come to terms and say science is science. Let us match up with the rest of the world and even probably do it better and go to the frontier of modern science to be able to challenge the rest of the world. There was no missing spiritual knowledge somewhere that we should go look for that will catapult us into the future. It's not happening. We will have to go through the same process.
Yeah, we're gonna have to have an interview with you, Sakou. We're gonna have to figure out when you decide to make that shift like that, how you got there. You know what I'm saying? I know how you got there, yo. All you gotta do is fight up against a person, you know what I'm saying, that got an opposing view to you. That's all you gotta do. All right, who next? Go ahead, please. Go ahead, brother.
Wait, first of all, somebody in the chat was asking me about the Laplacian equation. That's how you write it. Okay. What I was saying is that you wrote it wrong. You wrote the triangle upside down. This is how you write the Laplacian equation. That's what I was saying. That was just for the person in the chat. Somebody was asking me about it, and they kept writing it wrong, and I was telling them that they was writing it wrong. But anyway, I think that. I mean, there's a clash. Definitely, we have a clash of ideas and a clash of concepts is going on. However, it doesn't mean that we ain't. I don't know, but what I'm saying is that I think my whole purpose is that I feel as I bring this information forth, I feel as though I'm bringing it's a different perspective, and so I don't think that it'll be. I don't. First of all, me growing up as a teenager, I've always believed that the people in ancient Egypt were more knowledgeable than Western civilization. That's what I believe as a teenager in my early 20s. When I read Egypt Revisited by Ivan Van Sertima and Charles Finch book. I forgot the name of it. Something about the Dogon or something. It's Finch that he wrote, but that just gave me a belief that the ancients had more knowledge than the Western civilization at the time, and I couldn't prove it. But now, after studying mathematics, getting the degree in math, I feel like I could prove it because I'm looking at it and I'm looking at this and I'm saying, okay, well, if you do this, this shows this. And I'm not the one. And remind you, as I've shown it through the presentation, I wasn't the one. I showed several people, prominent scientists, doctors and stuff, in physics that say that modern science is in line with the ancient ideas on science. It's in line with their concepts of their spiritual systems. They're the ones who said that. They're the ones who sparked this in me. And then you have, and then, you know what I'm saying, you got papers. People run around writing papers. You know, the Great Pyramid, you know, is equal to the speed of light. People writing all these papers and stuff. And so, you know, when I look this stuff up, when I start, you know, reading it and comparing, like, hold up, okay, well, maybe, like, goddamn, well, maybe they did know something. And so what I'm saying, so my whole thing is I know Sakou said, you know, it's not going to, if we could, you know, we get into it, it's not going to catapult us forward. I think it will, because.
But how?
I think because this is what I'm saying, because look at, I mean, you're not thinking about it, because we here today, 2025, about to be 2026. They was back then, you know, it was 4,000, 10,000 years ago. They already knew this stuff. And it's like now today, we're knowing it, and it's just knowing it. But they knew it back then. Let me ask you a question. Because you always say that, you know, it took 300,000 years for us to get to this point. But I'm saying, no, we was at that point earlier. And they showed it. And they showed it with it's like, how do you, I'm saying, if you ask me to prove something today, I have to, you know, sit down, do the method, show you the equations, show you the process. You know what I'm saying? We're going through the method. But if you was to ask, like, how do you represent, if you was to ask about ancient times, how do you show this? How do you leave something for your descendants to know that you was on this level? And so what I'm saying is that they left the information as much as they knew.
So hold on for a minute. I'm saying, I want you to know that, first of all, I'm not sitting up here stating that modern people understand and know everything that ancient people knew. I'm not even making that claim, yo. Because
no, I know you didn't make that claim.
Let me finish. So we don't know enough about the Nile Valley culture, right, to know everything they did know. But there's some things that we do understand. Like we know at Nabta Playa, right, that they had early forms of quote unquote proto-astronomy. Why do you use the word proto-astronomy? Right? Because astronomy is an actual scientific study. Okay.
So why not say that they just knew astronomy?
Because you can't, because it would be wrong.
Why?
Right?
Why?
Because the first people that came up with astronomy based off of proto-astronomy would have been the Greeks. Right? And a particular person in between, his name would be, what's his name, Cedric? What is the Greek that wrote the first scientific treatise in astronomy?
Was it Euclid?
No, it's
not Aristotle.
No.
Pythagorean theorem.
No. What do they call? Hold on. What do they call the first Greek kings? What do they call them? The Ptolemy. Right. His name was Ptolemy. Now watch this. He writes the first mathematical, right, quote unquote, book on astronomy. And guess what he also did? He wrote a pseudo work on astrology, because it was the astrology, you know what I'm saying, that everybody wanted to mess with. But guess what? He does not get to astronomy without not to apply it. There's no way for him to do it. Meaning that if you took away proto-astronomy and not to apply it at 7,000 BCE, then there is no Ptolemy coming up with it. You know why? Because he has to understand that first, bro. This is what I'm trying to say. So when you take away what not to apply it represents, you're taking away the foundation of what we now stand on, which I find to be wild and ridiculous at this point.
Hold on. Okay, Cedric, let me ask you this. Do y'all think that the people of Kemet knew the Pythagorean theorem?
I think they may have. I'm not sure. That's not my field of expertise on that.
We're not going to run down a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Diop
tried to prove that it's possible because we don't get all the documents that they left, but some scholars believe that they have a knowledge to that.
So my brother keeps making these statements.
Let me piggyback on Ankh real quick. Then I'm gonna let you go, Cedric. Hold on. Because you know what? I had this conversation with my professor. I had to take the history of mathematics. I had this exact conversation. And I asked him, how come we don't consider the people of ancient Egypt, how come when they built pyramids at perfect right angles, how come we don't consider that as them knowing the Pythagorean theorem? With Pythagoras himself, we know Pythagoras studied in Kemet. You know what I'm saying? How come we don't consider that? The answer to my question is because they did not write it down.
What you talking about?
That was his answer. And I feel like that is a goddamn cop-out. You don't gotta write shit down if I build a goddamn structure.
No profanity.
Show you.
No, you can't. Come on, yo. You gotta stop cussing.
So
they wrote about, I'm gonna let you go, Cedric. So they basically wrote about everything else they did. But when it came to that, they forgot to write about it. All right, go ahead, Cedric. And then we're gonna bring Wisdom back.
First of all, you look at a building that requires arithmetic and basic geometry, which by holding a straight line at one point, stretching it out, and walking in a circular pattern, you can create a perfect circle. That is not high science. And that is not science. You're conflating mathematics, which is abstract, which you can put to anything, as science. Science requires evidence and a methodology. Your methodology is flawed and you're not addressing the fundamental issue, which is post hoc rationalization. You're moving past the goalpost, and I am right there at the start point. Your exercise is fallacious. It is based, as you have been explaining, in confirmation bias. You had a particular belief and you engaged in proving this belief by means of interjecting arbitrarily your mathematical equations. There is no methodology, no foundation for why you attribute these methodologies. You're applying the Bayesian theorem when the parameters are all presupposition claims for which you have no evidence. My brother, your methodology is flawed fundamentally, and then you, on top of that, you're compounding your fallacies.
Hey, Cedric, can you tell us what post hoc rational? Could you explain what that is, please?
So taking modern concepts, modern definitions, and fitting them on text or symbols or concepts that the ancients had, without taking into consideration what they actually meant when they were doing these things.
I didn't do that.
Your whole premise is built on that. The equation that you're trying to do, every time you equate ancient philosophy, the waters of Newt, why do we have chaos from order? And then your flawed explanation of Big Bang cosmology to fit with the ancient Egyptian narrative, which they are not trying to explain. But you are shoehorning modern ideas onto them, assuming that they had these concepts. That is flawed reasoning. Again, there are steps that you cannot bypass. We see the steps the physical steps in the development of the pyramids. What we do not see is any steps towards understanding of nuclear quantum physics, right? We don't have even a trace of them understanding electricity. We have no evidence of these concepts. So how do you get to quanta without understanding electricity? You're going to pull a book, again, flawed methodology. That doesn't say nothing. You could pull the Bible, that proves Jesus.
Yeah, that's not. Let's move forward. Let me let Morpheus on.
No, I got to reply. I want to hear from Morpheus. We didn't hear from Brother Kemet. We didn't hear from Brother Kemet, Netter.
All right, go ahead.
No, I went already earlier. I'm just chilling until I hear something I need to say something about. I can let my boy Morpheus go ahead.
What about Harwin?
Who?
Yeah, he just got. He can go after Morpheus.
But hold up. So I got to reply to Cedric.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's not. I'm not. First of all, like the reason I brought this book up because this brother is a qualified physicist, nationally recognized physicist, and it wasn't just. I'm saying it wasn't me who came up with the idea that the ancients.
Put that back up there.
Huh?
Put the book back up there. Let's see.
This,
and this book proves what?
This is a great book. This I'm just saying it wasn't just
Black Universe and Outsider's Guide to the Future of Physics, Stephen Alexander. And you're saying this book says what? What do you say?
I'm saying it wasn't me. It wasn't just me who said that. It wasn't me. I got the idea from people like him, and not just him, who said that modern science is in line with ancient concepts of the universe, of the beginning universe. It wasn't me. It's them. And so I just started looking into it. That's all.
So you don't understand that? You don't understand that early cultural cosmology was the start of it, bro. Like they are you saying that we're saying that humans didn't look to the skies and come up with ideas?
No. He said no. He said that I'm trying to implement modern ideas on the ancients. When modern physicists are saying that today's science is in line with what they was thinking. It's in line with what they was already. I mean, what I don't understand.
I don't understand what you're saying, because the early people thinking was early people's thinking, and they got some things right, and they got a lot of things wrong, and it was things they just didn't understand based off of the time of study. But they did build the foundation, bro. Like they started it. That's not a problem. You don't have it.
That's not what Cedric just said.
Cedric ain't never said nothing different than that, yo. Like just like not to apply. If you don't got not to apply it,
move on. Let's move on.
I mean, you get my point. I'm like the early people.
That's not what Cedric said, bro. Come on, move on. Let's go.
What else would he have said? Like that's crazy. Where do you think they get it from? What do you think we get first? Looking to the stars, bro. We get it from the early Stone Age cultures, bro. And they all come up with cosmology stories that was all wrong. How about that? Let me say it. They got it all wrong. But guess what? But the fact that they was looking.
Hold on. How was New and Tom wrong?
My brother, I can do the same thing.
Hold on a second. We got to move to Morpheus. Go ahead, Morpheus, because I'm running out of time at this point. And I want to end.
Let me ask this question, bro. Did the ancient Egyptians write anything, document anything that describes what we now know as political theory, right? Because that's a new thing. But
sorry, I didn't hear that. I'm sorry. Say that again. What theory?
Okay, I said, is there anything in the Egyptian writing, right, in their writing, right, that describes what's it called, the Pythagorean theory? What is it again? Pythagorean.
Oh, Pythagorean. Pythagoras.
One more time.
You said the Pythagorean theory?
Yeah. Is there anything in the Egyptians' writings, from their own writings, that describes what we now know as that theorem? Because that theorem was discovered at a particular time period. So now it has a name, right? Mm-hmm. And so now we say, okay, this is the name, or this is the formula. So we give a description of that formula, correct? And we say, okay, this is the name. But are we superimposing that onto that culture or the Egyptians, but we don't have anything in their writings, right, that describes, you know what I mean, the formula that we are now calling that. That's what I'm asking you.
Yeah. I was looking for the book by Richard Gillings on the mathematics of the pharaohs. He in one of the mathematical papyrus, yeah, they do actually use the Pythagorean theorem to solve for the area of a triangle, and he shows it. And I mean they did, yeah, they did.
What is it? Can you tell me what it is?
Wait, hold up. Let me get the book. Hold up.
All right, we're on the time limit at this point because we have
because on your Ankh, you made a real good point, right? Of talking about Naphtaliah, because this is the foundation of all of this, right? And I think we're jumping over that point that you made. You know what I mean? I really think we're jumping over that. And that's very important because that is the foundation, bro. Without that, you don't get no Greeks. You don't come up with a formula, or the Babylonians, or
right.
You don't get none of that.
Man, why would you take that away? Why would you take the foundation?
How are you taking it away if I'm saying that they started it?
No, do you realize if you got kids and a mother and a father, right? And you take away the daggone father, you done took away the kid. Because you ain't gonna be able to have a kid without a mother and a father. I'm gonna say this again, yo. If you take away a father from an unborn child that ain't there yet, then how do you get to the kid? So how do you get to Pythagorean theorem? How do you get to astronomy? The Greeks practiced astrology. The Nile Valley Africans did not practice astrology. They practiced astronomy. Most people don't even know that. So the Dendura temple is an astrology temple. That's a Greek temple in Egypt. They did not practice that. The Babylonians practiced a proto-astronomy and astrology, and they mixed it together.
All right, so brother, so I think you're incorrect on that one, and I believe I can show that, but we ain't gonna do that now. But to answer the brother, wait, I'm gonna answer the brother. I need to answer. So this is the book.
I'm telling you, I gotta move on. I cannot stay here.
Yeah, this is the book. And it's on page 138.
It's not peer reviewed neither. The book you showed earlier is
it's
not
on page 130. It's on page 138 when he showed. Richard Gillings is one of the primary people who study ancient Egyptian mathematics. So I don't know why you.
But I'm asking. See, that's showing me, right? What I'm asking is there a papyri, right? Not somebody saying who's using their own system and saying, hey, this looks like this. Right? No, I want a primary. I'm asking for, is there a primary? What's the primary? Do you know the number?
He uses the Russian mathematical papyrus and the
No, he said Russian. I'm asking from the Egyptian, from Egypt, right? From Egypt. The primary from Egypt. What's the name of the scroll, the papyri that that describes it? That's what I'm asking.
The Russian mathematical papyrus and the Moscow mathematical.
But why you keep saying Russian? I'm gonna say when you say Russian.
That's the name of it. That's the name of it.
You don't have a problem using that. Let's go to her. Let's go to her.
Morpheus. Wouldn't that be like the Rhine papyrus?
I'm sorry.
That's the name he's trying to get. Like the Rhine papyrus. Like he don't know the name of it. Like how the genetic people would say it, but they call it the Rhine papyrus. Some different types of names with Russian names in front of it. Yeah,
it's named after the white people that found it. That's why
you get it now, more.
Yeah, he get it. You know what's interesting though? That he spent his whole lecture talking crazy about white people. Now all of a sudden he wants to deal with white people. Crazy as hell. Hey, Harm, what's up? What's on your mind? You got unmuted. We can't see. We can't hear you. What you gotta say? We're gonna finish off.
What's up,
my man? Zelly, how you doing? What's on your mind?
What's good,
What's good?
What's up? Peace to the panel. Appreciate you letting me on, even though you running. I think you running it right now, right?
Yeah, I'm running.
All right. Well, I appreciate you letting me on then.
Really, bro. I can't usurp the process, yo. Go ahead.
I respect it. I'm gonna say this. Ankh is right when he says that there's nothing wrong with saying where it come from. So Ankh is admitting where the Greeks got it from. Is that right, Ankh? Am I getting you right?
Yeah, they can't even get to that point of astrology until you gotta be able to get the proto first, bro. Absolutely.
Okay. My only issue with what you're saying is you keep calling it proto when they were just straight up doing astronomy.
That's what I was saying.
Because when they calling it proto, it's for, let me give you an example. When they say that writing started in Sumer, they would just flat out say writing started in Sumer. Like you had Irvin, I think his name is Irvin Finkelstein. He was just on this white dude show that got a big podcast, but whatever. He's one of the main Assyriologists when it comes to translating the text. So they would just say that. Thank you, appreciate that. So they would just straight up say that that's writing, bro. But they wouldn't call that proto writing.
I know.
But then if you ask them what you would call ancient Egyptian writing, they would say, well, the ancient Egyptians had proto writing, but they didn't have writing before that, before the Sumerians. And then I would say, well, how is that true when Tum Uj predates any true writing in Sumer? Because the true writing that they're trying to claim Sumer started with is the Kish tablet, but it's not true writing, it's proto writing. So when they saying something as proto, they are trying to diminish that that's what it actually is. Proto writing isn't actual writing. So it would be safe to assume that they're saying proto astronomy isn't actual astronomy. When you put proto in front of it, that is them downgrading what they were doing as if it wasn't as advanced. But we got at the Temple of Cinnamon, you mentioned Dendura, the Cinnamon built. There's a whole star map on there. What's proto about that? That's straight up astronomy. There's no need to put the word proto there unless you're saying it from the perspective of, yeah, we discovered it. Cool. But they're not saying we discovered it. They're saying that we discovered the atomic. And modern physicists say that Greeks discovered the atomic theory. And the Greeks didn't have no mechanisms of discovering something that's that small. Quanta, like photons and protons, they didn't have anything like that to discover that. So they have no problem with crediting them. So why is it pseudo to say that Dr. Theophilus Bingo was correct when he said that they got the atomic theory from the ancient Egyptians? Why would that be pseudo?
He didn't say that.
When you see Pythagorean, he surely did. When you see Pythagorean,
you over.
Okay, cool, brother. When you see the
Herm, let me just address. You said you're saying a lot here, and I want to
wait. One thing before you go is there because somebody asked about the Pythagorean theorem. The Pythagorean triples, is it not in the Orion papyrus? Is it not? Is the Pythagorean theorem aspects of it not in the Birdland papyrus?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Let me say this.
I'm gonna leave it right there. Just Google that.
And
that's for century.
You got trading seals that Gunther Dreyer found. Proto writing actually predates the writing in Sumer and Egypt in those areas. You do not get to.
I agree with that. That's not my point, though. No, that's not what I'm saying. I agree with that.
You have to use the terms properly. That's all I'm saying. I don't know what Finkelstein them said. I would have to look at it. So based off what I'm hearing, that's not true. I've never heard nobody say that the Egyptians did not have writing. I've never heard that it was just
no, I didn't say that they said that. They're saying that no, I didn't say that. I said that they're saying that the Sumerians had actual writing first.
No, because
that's what I said.
Because they claim to have found the proto writing in Sumer. And I'm saying they found the proto writing in Egypt. And I'm saying it was the trading seals by Gunther Dreyer that puts it right there together, is what I'm trying to make the point. But I want to move on.
Well, yeah, there's true writing in Egypt in Tum Uj. We don't even got to say Gunther Dreyer. We can just say Tum Uj in the temple where you see scorpions and all that. It's right there. That's not proto writing. That's actual writing.
No, the trading.
You will see the trading. But there's actual writing on those tags. What you're calling in Tum Uj, there are tags with actual words on them for cities. There's a word for Buto. You will see the bilateral for the Jabiru bird for the Ba symbol. You will see actual phonetic values representing names of cities in Tum Uj. That's true writing.
And somebody can pull that up. It's a good conversation. Somebody can pull that up. We can see that.
Hold on, I want to make this point here, right? I don't want to get the shit. My fault. I don't want to get this whole thing misconstrued, right? The trading seals aren't proto writing, okay? but it is the earlier form of writing, and it comes through trading and having nothing religious. I just want to get that straight. Sometimes these conversations go back and forth, but you do have proto writing and certain cave paintings, right? Cave engravings.
That's a fact.
In Egypt. So I just want to clear it up. So because around here, if
That's
you
a
say
fact.
something else, you're not allowed to clear it up, and all of a sudden it's crazy. That's not correct. People make mistakes all the time. So I just wanted to clear it up.
Yeah,
Can I address?
Hold on. I gotta listen. I got huh? Yeah, no problem, bro. We good. Your phone breaking up. Denzelli, I want to get you in there. You can't hear me.
There's evidence of proto.
How much time you got?
I ain't got I'm out. I'm out of time.
All right, we're about to go. So who's up next?
Right here, Denzelli.
Me, real quick, and what I'm going to say is only going to probably take up like a minute because this is not my area. So I definitely
hold on. Go ahead and then Hercules, you go.
Yes, sir. Yeah, like I'm saying, this is not my area. I definitely defer to people who actually study this. What I want to bring up though is something that I want to drop on the minds of, like, let's say Mr. Mansa Hercules, and from looking at responses in the chat, and it's something that I often ask is, are we oftentimes too caught up in making history a competition, turning history into a me too thing, like they did it, we did it too, we did it first. That's what I see a lot of people. That's when I got better, when I stopped trying to treat history like it's a competition, like it's if they sailed to America, they meaning Europeans, then Africans did too. The black, if the white man could do it, the black man could do it too. Like that old clip song, me too, me too. That's when I got better, when I stopped trying to make history a competition. Just because I'm black and I don't feel like, black people are at the top of the pyramid now, I want to be able to argue with white people and say, 2,000, 3,000 years ago, we had this. We did this first. Me too. But that's all I just wanted to drop, because this is not my darn lane. And maybe that'll help some people in the chat or whatever. Me too movement. All right. Thanks, y'all. Peace.
Thank you. So I just want to say thank you to everybody. I appreciate you guys coming through. I'm blessed. And I seen Brother Jabari in the chat. Peace, Jabari. Love to talk to you sometimes. Thank you, Ankh, for coming through. Brother Cedric for coming through with the pushback. I appreciate that. You know what I'm saying? I need that pushback. And thank you so much. Again, I'm just presenting my ideas and my thoughts. And yes, I could be completely wrong about everything. And I feel like the brother said, you jumping on, history is me too. Yeah, we wouldn't have to do that if our enemies did not rewrite history, and attack us. So my ideas are they're different. They're pushing against the norm. I'm going against the norm, and that's what I do. I like going against the norm. And I don't think that the world that we live in is a perfect world or a world that we should be living in. So I feel like African people, we have to reestablish our dominance over this world like we once did. It's crazy to say, but hey, it's going to save us. It's going to save the planet. And I truly believe that African spirituality is effective and is proven to be effective. And a couple of concepts that I brought up was that, Christianity don't work for black people. Islam don't work for black people. I said that, and I was hoping people would push back on that, but nobody did. But hey, I love it. And I hope I see you guys next time. Cedric, thank you. I'm out.
Cedric got to address that.
Man. Man, let me get this together, man. That was a powerful build, man. Look, we about to go live, man. We about to talk about Frank Zeno. All right, that's what we about to do. Frank Zeno, however you say his damn name. Frankie, the Frankie guy, the wild guy. That's what we about to do, man. So we about to hit that show in 2 minutes, man. Gonna have some of the brothers on the panel, man. Hope y'all all lock in, man. I'm gonna drop the link for y'all, man. We gonna get this in for real, man. Y'all know how we do around here, man. Very, very important what we do, man. Listen, man, y'all listen to Bobby Banger, man. Y'all know how we doing this around here, man. That was a good show right there, man. Hope y'all go back into the archives, man, and hear that show again, man. Man, listen, man, I'm your host, Bobby Banger, and with that, we are out.